If I found it in a state where space gives its recognition, is it because it has been lost? Was it hidden in advance? Or am I its creator? Outside of a sapien seeking peer value and apron's throne, this option of conical really slides when it comes to dinner. Has the timer been checked yet? The reason being is that it is within operations, while 12 is withheld as a dim-lit exposition by 3 from the storm. This second is absorbently low in temporal tractions, snappy in rapid fire and echoes in access. Of all things isolated, occasional chairman, my preference this time, dim with light flows from the parfait. And of course, my resilient tree. If you do not observe the idea, the intended ways of Cliff Alley is that you do not see it, it being the frame and not soul, which takes a multiplicity of spaced-out events to fathom, and a rapid succession of findings is not accomplished by directions available in offer and in acknowledgement of external happenings kiddens, since that is what tries to corrupt successions of operations. So that then is a part of finding or making the state in front. That's a gap sense works. Easiest illustrations tackle this phenomena of true space from the childish perspective, and then later developed habits by the most frequent sphere. Essentially, in the free part of curious existence, malice is not observed even if present, and only gets recognized upon introduction. Inherently installed or not, ideas of it coming into considerations have a small rate. For the described conditions, it's relatively entertaining to activate tubular highways and fix them, which is also why conical sponge characteristic is severally admitted by sapien bystanders. Unsurprisingly, this also applies to ideas and designs, exhibiting what is by sapien widely accepted to be higher level complexity. However, no large quantities of showing a vigorous or determined attempt in needed to accomplish such inventions, for the reason that the action of inventing something, typically a process or device, is existing in something as a permanent, essential, or characteristic attribute as distinct for a living sentient being within this order. If not a thing, a work of art to be cherished every so often, an idea, event, something, anything, nothing, and everything. Let's further expand what is meant by this, referring to a specific thing indicated. From the skull open the memory facet containing a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility, experienced in the common environment as a whole or in a particular geographical area, especially as affected by sapien activity, and most fond of in the indefinite progress of existence and events. This displeasure is not chemical in nature, but does bring to existence a situational condition connected relevantly to an event-type action which block of any incoming signals, in the sense of true recognition, abilities of conclusion or resolution reached after consideration, and especially in this aspect, the afore put atop a pedestal, creation. How can the tubular project into awareness something of a thought or suggestive proposal, estimated to be relevant in doing or a possible course of action? The signal to be received is physically received and acknowledged as well. However, tubular and cellar cues seemingly executed rejection procedures without giving clear indications of valuation for the long term. And this executive decision possesses enough war from taking upon itself tremendous weight, that conditions amount to a state of captivity in hostile rooms, taped up to the connection, so that projections of lacking choice become sapien instilled without orders having been dealt, which precisely gives a detailed account and combinations of as to why this is having great power, influence, and effect. The result, of course, becoming a fruit in the sense that a choice is made that the choice is not, in other combinations, and order is given for a choice that a choice is not possible to execute, which in this case appears paradoxical. However, this instance is precisely that which helps it hide even more. The reason for this is that such conditions are presumed in artificial making of solutions to the state, which has not seen functionality of those methods when appearing in the here described format. So these sapien tools are imaginary implementations to predicted obstacle courses within the skull. The flaming discussion here still is predictable, yes. However, it is not being tackled with blocked off signals, as in these imaginary scouts. All radars are on, and a thing that is accepted as true or is certain to happen, without proof, it directly and only the logical part, which we have just shined light on as a choice that has been negated. So that in fact is then the paradox in the sapien tackle, and not the obstacle course within points of disruption. Conical to it as erroneous oak. And once said train has tunneled firmly in the track, it takes intense strength and vitality, required for sustained activity, diligent enough to break the top of the tunnel, and not be crushed by the unbalanced mountain mass, moving from a higher to a lower level, typically collapsing rapidly and without control. A contrary relation to conical would then apron into higher great interest and pleasure in something to like and enjoy very much. This state does not have a signal blocking cues. Having solidified these facts provided and conveyed by a particular arrangement, further join or merge to form a single unit of substance, when look attentively at a case 1 and 2 in simultation, to believe to be or to think of as a tingly displeasure, form the correct slippery source. Sincerely direct a tubular towards the idea, in a way that deliberately avoids errors on the subject of such a combination. Well, whether in belief or not, this is coming closer then one might imagine to a so far unpresented question in fundamental flaw removal. The answer is that in such a case meltdowns and unbalances are possible, but classify as temporary in nature. Just like the dirt shaking, gas moving in condensation lowering in elevation, even if this results in a sudden occurrence of something unwelcome, but in a permanent, essential, or characteristic way still pure in nature. A resolution in a reasoning conducted according to principles of validity indefinitely is inevitable, because high apron mirror doubles from below and a turnaround awakening in connections. In the manner now having been exemplified, a layer of clear stability has been thrown over the signals being blocked of when combining a pair of cases consisting by the presence rather than the absence of distinguishing progression principles of choices, which are attainable in any point of existence, ways without coordinate restriction. This now being close to the initial setting of a starting way in a rapid succession of findings not accomplished by directions available in offer, and in acknowledgement of external happenings kiddens, proving that that is what tries to corrupt successions of operations, and showing that souls do not develop in that fashion, but the method, style, or manner of doing something without guide, which is in curious successions, these not yet being jammed upon initial arrival, due to the inability of cages doing so while the rock is traveling along. That is also why it is so similar to high apron cases, when the cages are the ones being jammed. This game is a timed one with deliberate action,